now from Dan Kristiansen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the time that we've been able to spend together over the course of the last few years when it comes to talking about and negotiating the tough issues that you mentioned in your speech. You know, we all know that we are under a tremendous amount of pressure down here, not just by the courts, predominantly by our citizens. The citizens send us down here and they hire us to do this job. They're given opportunities to vote for us and somebody else. We were chosen. We were the ones who were chosen to represent them. And the question that I guess I have every time I come down here and every time I face an issue is, how am I going to serve my constituents best? One of the things, for those of you who've never done it, I would encourage you to go onto the 4th floor of this end of the building and walk through the halls. I do it every year, 2 or 3 times actually. It's the class pictures of those legislative bodies that have gone before us. And I like to go through that hall because as a state, we were founded in 1889. And I like to walk up there and I like to look at key dates in time and take a look at the faces of the people who were there dealing with challenges not unsimilar to what we're dealing with, but in many cases, far more serious challenges. Who were those legislators that were dealing with 1929, the crash in our economy? Who were those legislators that were there post December 7th, 1941? And so on and so on and so on. I'm kind of a history buff, but I do think it's important for us to learn from our history. I do think it's also important for us to acknowledge that despite those tremendous challenges that were before them, they made it. They became unified at a time when it was very difficult. And we can get really focused in on what divides us down here, and I hate to say it, but that's part of politics. But my hope and my prayer is that we will also find, and we'll make a bigger priority on those areas that unite us and unify us. Every one of us in here are Americans. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud not only that I'm an American, but everybody in here, we serve together because this Constitution has put together a system in place that we can do this. We have a representative form of government, and the people that hire us to do these jobs are expecting us to come down here and govern. We all know, as was mentioned by Pastor Williams, and I want to thank Pastor too for his kind prayer and words this morning, but when he was talking about you're making enemies and friends when you push that yes button or that no button, this is my 14th session, and I got to tell you, it's always difficult pushing those buttons, but we were hired to do that job. And sometimes we're going to be faced with very difficult personal decisions that we may have to make. I've said before that I encourage every legislator to come down here and draw that line in the sand. Draw that line in the sand that represents your moral compass, your ethical compass. And don't cross over that line. You don't need to. But you do need to work with people on the other issues. And my hope and my prayer is that as we come together for this legislative session, 60 days, right? Or less? Absolutely. Well, you told me 105 last year. I'm going to hold you to 60 this year. But my point is that my hope and my prayer as we move forward is that we will be able to come together on these tough issues. Like classes of legislators before us that had tremendous challenges. We've got some tremendous challenges in front of us. But I do believe that the system works. People complain about the system all the time, but I don't know if you're like me when I've looked at other systems of government around the world. As bad as complicated and as sometimes stinky as this place can be, it's still, in my opinion, the best form of government in the world. Because it truly reflects, I believe, the public. Because that's why we were sent here. Every one of us represents approximately 137,000 people. Think about that. Have you always agreed with or condoned the actions of your own family members? And yet these people are hopefully going to agree with you and condone your actions most of the time. And that's the challenge that's before us. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the comments and all the statistics and all the great work that we've done over the past few years, because we have. We haven't always agreed on those things. That's part of politics. But there are some tremendous challenges before us, not unlike education. We've got a lot of things we've got to do on education, not just on the funding end, but the reform end. We want to make sure that the outcomes of these kids is first and foremost our priority, that our kids get a world-class education, period. that we create safer atmospheres for our families, that we have job opportunities for those students as they come out of school. More than half of our college graduates are unemployed. That's wrong. We have 39 counties in Washington state, and only two of 39 counties have below the national average of unemployment. 37 counties are operating at above and in sometimes double or more the national average of unemployment. That is great for Seattle and the Bellevue metropolitan area, but it really, but it sucks for the rest of the state. I'm becoming more politically incorrect. It sucked, okay? Yeah, it's gonna have to be. It's TVW, can you edit that out for me? My point being is that we need to take a look at, it's been talked about, one Washington. But one Washington just isn't a 10-mile corridor. It's 300 miles approximately from the ocean to the Idaho border, and it's 300 miles approximately from from Oregon to Canada. 10 miles isn't doing it. We've got to do better in the rest of the state, and that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we unite with you, Mr. Speaker, and colleagues across the aisle to make sure that the rest of Washington is being treated properly as well. Mental health. We've got a lot of things going on in the greater metropolitan area on mental health, which you know, Mr. Speaker, and we've talked about this, is a huge focus of mine personally. But the things we're doing for mental health and other social programs in Seattle is not happening in the rest of the state. Transportation. While we made the largest transportation investment last year, most of the state is just going to be paying, not receiving. We've got to take that into consideration. So my hope as we move forward, Mr. Speaker, is that we are going to be able to look at the whole state, because the whole state is represented in this body. 7 million people are represented by us. And my challenge to all of us is that we are going to be able to find those areas we can unite on, that we can do the best we can for the citizens of the state of Washington at all levels. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you so much for your service. It is, despite our differences, I truly enjoy working with you. And my colleagues here, all 97 of you, you're actually a pretty sharp-looking bunch, by the way. But I do enjoy working with all of you despite our differences. I would be remiss, though, too, if I didn't acknowledge that life happens away from this place. Former member Carol Gregory lost her husband right after the election. And my condolences, our condolences to her and her family. I've got a member, I know we're not supposed to name names, but Norm Johnson lost a son. Sometimes we can get so caught up in this legislative process and this beautiful building, we forget life is happening around here. And so let's try and be patient with each other. Let's realize that real life is happening to us in the process of doing this job. And with that, Mr. Speaker, let's move forward. 59 days and counting, right? Thank you very much.